The band is back together.
Band is indeed back together. I see a Nurhack asking, like, where are we? Well, the reality is Marcin and I have not seen each other in a month, and we were catching up.
Yeah, we had plenty of things to discuss and catch up on. So, how are you, Callum?
I'm all right. I'm busy, very busy, and still sort of recovering from various things from the past month. But yeah, no, all good. How about you, Marcin? You were off last week. You were in the mountains, weren't you?
Where I was last week? No, I was by the lakeside. I was picking up my daughter from the holidays, so it's a holiday period, and my older daughter was having a holiday with their grandparents, and we were going there to join her and enjoy a little bit of summer. So it was also a busy, packed week for me. Now I'm attending the workshop and training with the break for the umbraCoffee. But in general, there is a lot of things going on, and there's no time to chill that much. So it's good to be back again in this companion. So.
Yeah, it's indeed, like, it's crazy to think that the last time we were both on umbraCoffee together was at Code Garden, and that feels like a long time ago now. So
because it is a month already, right? So that's. Yeah, I was doing some kind of summaries this week, and then I realized, it's already almost middle of the summer, right? And people are coming back from holidays, and I didn't have a proper holiday yet myself. So it's interesting to see, and especially I'm working a lot with the Scandinavian countries right now, and they used to have this kind of 3 weeks of holidays in July. So,
well, I noticed that every single person in the chat right now is based in the UK. And I guess that's of Scandinavia, Denmark, and areas like that right now. Like they're all off, aren't they? They're all enjoying themselves.
Potentially. There's a huge chance that they are just sipping some cold beverage by the sea somewhere or swimming pool.
Yeah.
But we can still talk about Umbraco doing that, right? So we obviously can. Let's start then, because there were a couple of topics that pop out this week, starting from the article written by Andy in the topic of aligning package behavior from Umbraco Forms mainly perspective to the great and newest feature of the Umbraco core, which is the content delivery API. And I read through this article quickly today, and it looks like Andy's at least perspective for it is like really nice, and of course we discussed it as well on Code Garden that it needs to be aligned. The behavior, the headless approach, and the APIs, the methodology needs to be kind of aligned, because it would be a huge mess if all the platforms, all the tools would use different APIs, right?
For sure. So I think the point of Andy's post here is about saying the different interfaces, different features that Umbraco ships out of the box that you can use to basically lean on their headless implementation, right? So Forms had the headless implementation before the CMS, but they've realigned that, readjusted it, so it's using the same Swagger endpoint, I believe. It's using the some of the kind of inbuilt features for property resolution as well now, which is all very nice.
And I wanted to say that interesting point for me was regarding this implementation of the iDelivery API property value converter, because it seems like it's exactly something within the content delivery API that can be used by potentially other package creators and people who wants to just hook into the APIs and headless exposure, and it seems like Andy just drawn the path towards this, and implementing 3 methods solves the ability to be retrieved from this.
I think by default it will try and JSON serialize the regular property value. So if it's a string, it will just keep working. You don't have to do anything special there. But if you've got like a complicated object, or in the case of something like a picker, you then want to go and fetch other references and have those included in your response, like a form picker, for example. I want to go get the form schema as well. Then you can do exactly that with this interface, and it's just again about returning an object that the API understands. My understanding is that eventually the hardcore APIs will also utilize this, or some abstraction of this, so that any core property editors wanting to expose data via hardcore in a different shape can do that with the same methods. And maybe in future, it's on the roadmap for custom property editors. Maybe we will get the ability to do this with custom things as well. And the other thing I'll add is if you need to modify one specific property in your solution so that it works nicely for your API, like maybe one of the inbuilt ones, but based on when it's, when the field is called, I don't know, site configuration or something, and you want to have some custom logic there that change that object to be something that you need in your application, you can do that with this approach too. So you can implement your own value converter just for one property.
That's what I wanted to say, because from at least my short experience with API-driven headless solutions too, the huge danger is in that automatic data mapping can lead towards endless loops or too big loops of the content being nested. And of course, for the APIs, it's really needed to have a lightweight object to be exposed, to be then processed in the proper way. So the huge iPublish model, serialized even to the most lightweight JSON file, will be still a huge model.
Yeah.
So in this case, it might be a potential of the custom implementation on top of the defaults, which can lead to maybe more tailored models or more tailored exposed data from various sources in this case.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff. There were also some discussions on Slack, if I recall correctly, about the forms workflows and the submit pages, which I don't know if it was Matthew, it was probably Matthew who started the discussion, and then they also helped him with some methods that were completely unknown for me, to be fair. And in this case, in blog post, also Andy wrote about exposing routes to content using the APIs, which is another interesting perspective on what can be done with the headless approach to forms in this case and workflows in that manner. So everything can be done, and the path can be injected there, can be replaced if needed, and we can control what should be populated there when the submit happens. So that's really cool, really interesting in this case too.
Yeah, definitely interesting. So we had I did a kind of talk or a walkthrough at the Umbraco Kent meetup this week, where I showed how we're approaching our solutions, maybe some opinionated things of like we would do this and here's why. And it was really interesting to hear from the people there about their different reasons for doing certain things as well. And for me, we don't do headless solutions really. We're building still very page-oriented solutions. And I was reflecting on this on the train home, actually, that the way we're structuring our CMS is also very page-oriented. And I don't know how well that maps over to like just going headless. So I wonder if what we're going to see over the next few years is people maybe picking a side here, where they will be utilizing all of these delivery API features and not really worrying about like MVC in Umbraco tool. And then you'll have the other flavor of Umbraco developer who's doing things the MVC way. I wonder if we're going to see that divide, or if we're still going to see people mixing and matching, having headless elements of their site, and how does that impact the content structure? It started a lot of debates for me.
Yeah, I see the same, and of course it depends from the structure of the team, I would say, because if you have a team of 5 front-end developers and 1 back-end developer, you would be probably leaning towards headless API consumed ways, and Nuxt.js or Next.js doing routing and stuff like that for you based on the content retrieved from somewhere. But if we had also this debate because we are recently mostly back-end oriented in my team, where we had, okay, so what we are feeling comfortable with. And of course, I feel the most comfortable with MVC, because I know how to control all of the data there and how to mix it with the front end, which is, in theory, should be decoupled from the backend, because we cannot rely on each other. We shouldn't be blocking each other, right? So there is a lot of ways, and I do agree with you. We will definitely see a cross path of ways of doing Umbraco projects. And in this case, it will be the Umbraco development, front-end development, and something in between. And in all of this, we still have a composable aspect on top of that, because it's just content in the end of the day. And I'm right now attending the Uniform workshops, which Uniform is this platform which is composable from various different sources and stuff like that. So Umbraco, or CMS in this case, is just a source of the content. So and the content about one particular domain of the system. So I would see a lot of this, and of course everyone would find the place for themselves. I'm more than sure about it. But it's really interesting to see that this is still a thing, and it's being more maybe exposed now for us, because there is not only one way of doing Umbraco projects, right?
For sure, and it does depend on the flavor of the project, as Gareth said in the chat, kind of where the project requires it, where it makes sense. We've recently done 2 fairly membership-heavy sites where membership is something in the Umbraco, at least, that has not been done headlessly well at all, and is actually quite difficult to do well. So we always fall back to the kind of the standard ASP.NET identity and having sessions and whatever stored in the user's session. But that's probably the only bit left. Like Umbraco Commerce in later this year is going to have a full headless implementation. We've done headless e-commerce implementations. So when we get to a point where every feature in Umbraco can be used headlessly, we've got forms, we've got content, we've got we will have commerce. Like it's going to open up some interesting times where someone might decide to go a full headless Umbraco solution. It's not something we've really seen much of, is it?
Yeah, we had that conversation today about the fact where we will spend more time building solutions then, and it will definitely require more content modeling upfront, which is not right now that much important, because then you can always add one more property when you control how it is displayed. But if you want to be controlling how it is displayed in the content, like in the hardcore solutions, for example, right? I've seen wrong solutions done with the headless approaches too, where you have a property to control everything for the different channels, for the mobile app, for the website, and it's not the right content model. So we would probably spend more time doing this, and it is interesting. And I do agree also with Gareth, because, and we talked about it multiple times, that headless or microservices are not solution for everything. There will be a room for monolith applications. There will be room for MVC. There will be room for completely decoupled content. So it all depends, and it will be interesting to see more of it in use. And I'm sure that it will be more used now because of this whole movement, and also the native APIs, not packages just being there for us to save us.
One thing I will say to the credit of the delivery API, we've used it just recently on a project where client needed access to their terms and conditions, which are embedded in a block list item in a page somewhere, and they didn't want to have to duplicate that to an external system. They wanted to be able to pull the content out. And we're like, how can we do that? Well, we didn't have to write any code, because we can give them the delivery API, give them an endpoint to call. They've got a JSON structure there that has the content in it. They can just fish it out and render it. So that is quite good. So even though we're not using headless in our application, exposing bits of the application to an external thing without having to do any work was a really valuable feature for us.
Yeah, and that's exactly for what I can see the use case right now for the companies that are using intranets, for example, or something what's a completely different system, maybe SharePoint, maybe something else, and they can or get the data from the CMS. And in this case, we are building the architecture already on top of that, and now it's there. No need to expand it with anything custom, which is of course cool, and we will definitely see more of these cases. So please, people, share your use cases, because we'll definitely learn from them. And now, on top of that, we can talk about AI, because why not? So if you already have solutions,
all of the buzzwords, Marcin.
Yeah, we should use it in the title. Maybe you can then reach out to the new audience.
Yeah, Web3 as well.
Yeah, by the way, like, subscribe. We are really getting there. It's 929 subscribers.
It's annoying. We had 900. I think we had 930 last week, and then we lost one for some reason. So please help.
Yeah, please. But yeah, AI, because that's another thing that will maybe help and solve all of our troubles. But we have an app-centric team that was proudly delivering the Sidekick solution, and now it's on the marketplace as well. And Sidekick for Umbraco gives an AI-powered assistant to help you with your content. And it looks really cool. I must say that this looks really, really cool. We've been talking with a Perplex team about their assistant and the SEO-powered tools, but Sidekick seems to be one step forward, and because it comes to multiple properties, multiple types of properties. It can generate content, it can do a lot of other crazy things. And it looks really, really nice, and seems native integration as well, because that's something what I wanted to say, that this model window looks really like Umbraco window, right? So there was a lot of work placed to make it feel like a part of the Umbraco back office. So I really, really like this, and yeah, it has the power of generating content based on the prompts and the properties going into that. So, Callum, do you use AI in your daily work?
No, not really.
No.
Can't say I do, but that's probably a lie, because like even in I'm not. I'll say this.
Copilot. What about Copilot?
Yeah, exactly. Copilots and those types of tools that just sort of fade into the background, definitely. And the Visual Studio auto completion stuff that's all based on an AI model. Like, I'm using that. I'm not actively seeking out AI tools, I don't think. But this follows a chat that I had with someone the other day. I can't remember who, might have been at a meetup. I find this very uninspiring. I'll be honest. There's only 10 people watching, so I can say what I want. Right?
Clickbait title for this episode.
I find this very uninspiring. So we've seen this demo of I can generate some content for a field. It as like we've seen that done 3 ways now. We've had 3 different Umbraco packages that do this, and I feel like there is a big space where the Umbraco back office could benefit from AI features. I don't know how helpful day-to-day users, actual users, would find this. Like, I feel like people care about their content a little more than just getting an AI to write it for them. The thing that I want to see is, like, when I'm creating a doc type and I create a field called SEO title, it goes, you're also going to want a description, an image, and like just gives me some suggestions. That Copilot-esque experience you get in your IDE, where you can just hit tab and it generates stuff for you. That's where I feel like these tools are better. So as a productivity boost, rather than as a
replacement,
for a human. And so I don't want to have to build it. Maybe we can do an experiment internally, try and build something. I did see an article earlier this week about running like a large language models on C# natively, locally, which looked kind of interesting, rather than depending on APIs as well. I'd be very interested to see if there's workflow improvements we could bring with AI, rather than just, oh, look, I can generate something. So that's where my hesitance comes.
Yeah, I follow all of the new stuff about AI and automations as well, because I'm really optimistic also for these use cases. You mentioned like enhancements, productivity, and speed, basically, of finding out something what might help me or someone else in their work. And of course, not to use as a replacement, because if we will generate 10 articles about Umbraco, it won't be the 10 articles that are really relevant and valuable. We still need to go through that. But if we'll be looking for some kind of shortcuts or collective knowledge coming from somewhere, that would be really cool. And I explored a lot of ChatGPT prompts recently, and that's the source of the inspiration for me, because it can be used for the really nice use cases, even though it got a little bit dumber. And that's another controversy that we can use as a clickbait in this episode, because it got a little bit more damp with the recent update, but intentionally. That was done to really much more.
I saw a good explanation of that. Like it's about it being more grounded in reality and giving you answers that you'd expect, rather than necessarily some of those mind-blowing things. I also think there's maybe a bit of a I don't know what we'd call it, but like a half-life of how excited you can get about this stuff. So the first time you ask ChatGPT to do something and it does it, you're like, oh wow, that's excellent. But maybe we're just used to the fact that it's excellent now, or that it can do these things, and it's probably not going to get continually better and better. There was this Bard, Google's AI, came out with it does like image generation and image recognition and some other stuff now, which is great. It's cool. That's impressive. But after a few months of using that, you go, oh, that's what I expect. So I don't think we'll be seeing huge evolutions where it's going to feel like AI is not improving, but it probably is in the background. I don't
No, no one is surprised now about seeing the images of cats smoking weed in the streets of New York City, right? That's completely normal, right?
Yeah,
Right?
I'll tell you something. The thing I'm more impressed with is the different ways that it's being used, and by groups of people who you would never expect it to have been used by. So this is not really an umbraCoffee topic. So we're descending into chaos here.
Yeah.
I saw a great thread this week about AI-generated OnlyFans models.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I saw it.
This is completely computer-generated women that are being like marketed at certain groups for a subscription, and it's incredible that's actually even like possible in this day and age. And it does really make you start to think how much, just if we talk about general content production, YouTube videos, do we need to be standing here, Marcin, each week and doing an umbraCoffee episode, or could it be a completely AI generated thing? And how far will this go? Will it get to a point where we just become used to that idea, and that you can't really tell? There's no discernible difference between an AI and a fake thing. That's what's most mind blowing for me. It's not the whole I can type something and get ChatGPT to do me a task. It's like how much of the world is actually going to be replaced or augmented by this.
But that's exactly where the human aspects attached to that is going to be a valuable asset, because I joined the same discussions, and people from the podcast said that okay, podcasts can be automated, but then you maybe not require, but you need a human interaction. You need human mistakes as well in the life, because if it will be automatic and without mistakes, that would be not that interactive and interesting. So, but yeah, that's a topic, and I saw it. And if someone wants to learn more about experiments with the generated or fake things and social reach and presence, I have some stories to share about it as well. But it is interesting, and of course, right now we need to be very careful and also more preventing the wrong usage of it, because for the good usage, that's amazing. But what about this whole wrong usage, right?
Sebastian saying, if you had generated umbraCoffee, you would never send me an axe again, or it could go the exact other way.
Yeah, and get all the secrets.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Coming back to this sidekick thing, it looks great. It's another cool implementation of a large language model inside Umbraco. But I think we're missing a trick. I think there's some more inspiring and more helpful things we could be building.
But let's wait for more use cases, because this is, as I said, another approach to this functionality. And from the small, nice to see thing and clippy attachment, we can land in the position where we will be, able to, I don't know, maybe personalize content or analyze the behaviors of the editors and then suggest them something that they can do. I'm really open for more of it, and please do explore more of it. And I have a couple of the people exploring local models as well for their local assistants. So everything can be done, and we will see definitely more of it soon.
Did you see this week that Microsoft announced Office Copilot, and it's $30 a month per user, which is that is expensive. When you consider ChatGPT, $10.
Yeah, I can go towards the discussion, because if it saves a lot of time per some task, $30 still seems to be like for some of the people an hourly rate, even though something like that, right? So it's just an hour or something somewhere in the numbers. And if it will save a lot of time, we'll see. But I saw it, and I'm really curious how it will evolve. And if not, the pricing can be always adjusted, right?
Yeah.
So that's a test. That's a test. Cool. Let's see more. What we also seen this week is using Forms updated release to be working with Umbraco 12. So it's also there and ready to be used. And one more package also released for Umbraco 12 was access restrictions package that I haven't used yet, but it looks like a really nice one for doing some kind of what was the name of the Anthony's package? Site lock, yeah, something like that, right? So also access restrictions to the website, to the paths based on the configuration, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
You've mentioned meetups, Callum. There's a lot of
just to highlight Limbo.
Yep.
This week, or Anders have been very, very busy, and he's released like 14 updates to different packages.
Yes.
So go check those out if you're using them. Umbraco Commerce payment providers, again, Matt's been really busy this week, releasing or updating those ones, and uMarketingSuite as well had a new version out today. So there's plenty of package updates, just nothing.
Yes.
I think they're all incremental bumps and improvements.
Yep, and that's a huge list here, and everyone can go to the marketplace and recent packages and see it. It works really, really nice here. But there are plenty of nice bumped releases of the packages and providers with the new names and namespaces too. Coming back to meetups then, there were a couple of meetups this week. You've been doing Kent meetup group this week.
Kent was good. There was a Manchester one, I think, last night. They had lightning talks, which looked really, really good as well. I'm sure there was Bristol last week, a few others. It's been a busy couple of weeks.
Yep, and there are some of these meetups ahead of us, and then we can talk about them. So on 26th of July, the US community is doing the US meetup group, which is called the Summertime Social. So it's done, and it's an online.
It's virtual, yeah. So
virtual.
I guess anyone can join if they really wanted to. It's very late in the evening, or later in the evening for us, but yeah, it's there.
So it's 26th, and the day after there is a Sydney Umbraco meetup, which is not online in this case, or
no,
it has.
It's not. It's an in-person one. But,
and Anthony's
it seems. No, he's doing a talk on some architectural things that
it is an online event.
Oh, is it? That might be a mistake. I don't think it's online. My understanding is that it's an in-person event.
Yeah, it's in Microsoft Reactor in Sydney. So that's. But if there will be an online stream of that would be really interesting because the topic is really cool, and it's good to see Anthony back on the agenda of Umbraco events. So, that's the one. And last but not least, on the previous set of meetups that we've been already highlighting, it's Umbraco Barbecue. That's kind of your co-host.
So there's going to be one in Leeds. Hopefully the weather's good on the 4th, and we're going to have one in London on the 11th as well, the week after. So come along to those. It'd be good to see some people for a social. Yeah.
And there is a new meetup on the map that is started by Busra, and I don't understand anything from what is said here, but. I've been translating it. Do you know more details about it?
I know very little, other than I think the idea is to get a fairly semi-regular meetup going with virtual at first, and then maybe something in Istanbul a bit later in the year or early next year. And it's good to see so many people signed up. There is a big collective of .NET users in Turkey, and also Umbraco adjacent people. So at least it would be good to try and gather them. So. Fingers crossed, it's a good turnout for Busra's Festival. And
if we have anyone here watching umbraCoffee and being located or working with people from Turkey, please share and let them know that there is a new opportunity to exchange the knowledge, because it's always good to exchange the knowledge. So that's really cool, and we'll definitely keep an eye and share some updates from these meetups as well.
Yes.
After the meetups, there is an unconference event update from Code Cabin, because the congratulations and commiserations, and you worked for me to learn, were sent to applicants. So we can see a couple of the people already being happier with being selected.
Looks like Soren. I'm not sure if I'm interpreting that correctly, but I guess that's Soren, and I guess Andy as well. And I saw some others on LinkedIn saying as well. I think they've got a nice, interesting bunch of people this year, which is always good. I know that Joe on my team is going to be going. Should be good.
If anyone else who is watching maybe is going to attend, let us know. We'll highlight that as well.
I think I'm going to be sunning myself in the Canary Islands that weekend instead.
Still a good option to do that. and other events and potential activities for speakers, and not only that we want to remind about. There's a call for speakers for the Dutch Umbraco Community Conference, which is happening on 28th of September in Utrecht. And the call for speakers is closing out
on the first. It got extended by a month. It won't be extended again. You've got to get your topics in. Only a week or so left. Always a great event. Steve and I last week were talking about our highlights of our year conferences, and I said I think my actual highlight of this year so far was Azure Lowlands, which was back. Really excellent conference, also organised by Henk and Arnold, or Henk, but also with Arnold, and same venue. Really great event. Duke Fest is.
There was an AI Lowlands there. Have you seen that?
Yes, I have. I think Duke Fest is my second favorite Umbraco festival, of course, behind the UK festival. But yeah, it's a really great event. Always highly recommend even attending if you can't get a talk submitted. It's not haven't been there for a couple of years, but as you can see here, I submitted my recent session here. So fingers crossed, I might land out there. But for everyone who wants to talk and wants to attend from this perspective of the speaker, there is a deadline to be matched again, and please do submit and make the organizers' lives worse to select a really good content to be on the event out there. And there's another event on the Umbraco map, which is in the US. We talked about it. We announced it a while ago. The event is in October, 2nd of October in Charlotte. And there's a call for speakers also open until the end of this month. So yes, 11 days also. It seems they maybe used a generative AI to actually write the description here. I said this last week. I'm very confused about what's actually being asked for, but yeah, it's open. Go submit. It's for the community day 1 of 2. Second day is more business focused, but community day on
we've been talking about it, and yeah, from the perspective of community, there will be one day for community, one day for business people, and one day for partners if it's the same for the invite only. And I was really considering also submitting and checking up the US. I haven't been in the US for ages as well, so might be a interesting connection with the holidays and potential of visiting NBA game again. Yeah, I would love to do that. So
and just to add to this, I think they have early bird tickets available until the 1st of August, or super early bird, or something like that, which are 99 or 199. I can't remember.
199.
Get tickets. I think the super early bird is 99. I think, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, I haven't checked that, so I can say.
But yeah, you have only a little bit more time to get those. I'm not sure when speakers, etc., will be announced because there's not really any details on that yet either. But soon, I'm sure. It says soon.
Yes. So yeah, looking forward to it. And yeah, for those who want to go again and submit some talks, there's still time until the end of this month. So not that much time. And that's about the events. And we have one pull request to discuss at the end, which is
I'm putting this as a pull request of the week with a question mark because I like this one. And I think maybe Bjarne might be referring to me in his description there. I saw this in the community. Not sure where it'd be. We do this on every project, and I, as part of my Duke Fest talk in 2021, I think I showed this of how we're by default having view components for all of our blocks, but with a nice fallback option to not use the view component if one doesn't exist. So if you need to introduce a custom model or any logic, it can help keep your code really clean. It's a little bit of plumbing that just makes everything a lot nicer. So
what I wanted to highlight here is like how still small change of the logic here makes a big impact and helps a lot if you really want to organize your project that way. Because this is the change, right? This is the change. So if the component exists and it's not null, then invoke component and render the component. But if not, just fall back to the default behavior. So that's amazing. That's amazing. And I do remember discussing it potentially with you or with other people about this organization too. So it seems like a really nice improvement. And
for us, it would mean one less partial or one less file we have to ship with every project. Every time we start a project, copying that over. So it would be a nice addition.
And Bjarne is keeping his pace.
The pull requests list today, and there's only 70 odd pull requests open currently, and I think the first page, maybe half of them were from Bjarne. So he's really keeping the pace up.
That's cool and great to see. And I spoke with Bjarne on Cool Garden, of course, about his activity, and that's amazing. That's amazing to see it still high and active. That's a great addition for everything what can be done there. And that's a lot of good use cases as well, because that's not only something what is spotted, but it's remembered from somewhere and implemented finally in the code base. So he knows code base very well, and that's
he does.
So yeah, that's all from the list for today. Of course, if you missed anything that is worth highlighting and should be highlighted, please let us know, because we then will include it to the next week's episode. And is there anything else, Callum, what you want to add to that?
I don't think so. I think that's all of the news. Of course, people need to help us like and subscribe, because we really want to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark quite desperately. So please help.
Yes.
But also liking and sharing the episode helps us get seen by more people, bigger audience, share the Umbraco love even further. So, yeah.
Indeed. And thanks for all of you joining us here. And as usual, we'll see each other on the next Friday. So please join. And until then, be active and share your work. Then we'll find it and we will include it in our episode next week. So thanks, everyone.
See ya.
Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.